Hey, Shannon and Bob, we're going live any second now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I want to do a shout out to Michael J because I just
Oh,
think he's like one of my new best friends in the world, and he's doing some great things in the world, and I want to give a shout out to him. You.
awesome. Shannon, who you going to do a shout out to?
I am shouting out to Scott Donna and Becky Bolt today because if it wasn't for them, we would not be introduced to you and we would not have this experience.
I love all of those shout outs. Thank you guys so much. Here we go. Hey guys, I feel so happy because I got a shout out. So I think it's my very first one. And we have on the show today Bob Sima and Shannon Plummer. They are the founders of Where the Light Gets In Ministries. They help underserved populations heal through music. Bob and Shannon travel extensively, offering concerts, workshops, experiential retreats, and one-on-one coaching and healing programs for those relentlessly seeking practical and inspirational tools for their journey. Bob and Shannon, I am so happy that you're here.
Happy to be here.
Yes, so experiential retreats. I love that. Let's talk about experiential and how do you help people and what should they expect and what is an experiential thing retreat?
Wow.
Bob?
Oh, you're calling me out. Okay, wow.
Yeah, I'm just calling you out. You called me out with the shout out, which I love.
I mean, experiential isn't, I don't know, maybe this is kind of a word maybe people aren't familiar with, but it's not about any kind of dogma or any kind of class or teaching. It's really about the direct experience, like the direct experience of looking into someone's eyes, the direct experience of eating a meal in silence. I mean, things that you just haven't really done much of your whole life, maybe just making an assumption, and taking you out of your sort of normal experience of daily existence and putting you into a container that would allow all of your senses to be touched, allow you to be moved, allow you to be in a sense of awe. And I don't know, that's a tall order. That's what we shoot for.
That is a tall order. I mean, I eat in silence a lot unless the TV's going, but yeah, it's different, I'm sure, with you guys.
Yeah.
So when people come to your retreats, what is it that they're looking for? What happens to them?
Oh, wow.
Shannon, tell me about that.
So, we tend to be the observers at our retreats. And from that observation standpoint, I think the paradigm shifts within a consciousness is the biggest thing that happens. As Bob said, when you get into the experience of the here and the now moment where you are surrounded by love and you are in a place where it's just this moment. It's just this moment, and you're not worried about what happened yesterday. You're not worried about what's going to happen next. You're just experiencing this beauty. That what shifts in paradigms is very powerful because we realize that when we can realize that in this moment, as Bob and I are sitting here and talking to you, everything is perfect. What else is there to think about, and where else is there to be but this? And when that paradigm can break down that we have to live in the past or we have to live in the future, it's a powerful sentiment to watch and to witness. And what we receive in that is a true gift of people smiling and just being able to witness others coming into their space as they come into their own.
So as people live like in the moment, in this instant that you and I are sharing right now, how does one plan for the future? Is that a good way of putting it? How do you push your life forward if you're always in the now?
Love that.
Oh, I mean, you don't necessarily have to push. I think when you get to, we call this boldly going nowhere. And if you break that down, nowhere is now here. Okay. And if you think about everything came from no thing. I mean, that's quantum physics, right? So to be able to create and be able to plan and all of these things for your future, you have to be in a powerful state of now. You have to be in a powerful place within yourself, right? And if you don't, most people, and I'm not making any judgments, but a lot of us, and me included, we're constantly planning and constantly living in the future and constantly striving. And this retreat, this kind of work is meant for you to not strive, to arrive. And when you arrive, You're in the place of that no thingness, which is where all things are created. So it becomes an effortless sort of mastery. It becomes an effortless planning. Things, like I look at our life, we don't really plan anything. Things just sort of come into our existence, and we're a maybe on everything, right? We say that. And you're kind of just, I don't know, Michael, you're kind of living in a place, you're changing the paradigm, really, is what we're trying to offer, is a week in the jungle in Mexico where you're just not in the place of trying to plan out your life. You're in a place of trying to unplan. You're in a place to clear off your plate, right? How many times do you reach somebody and they're like, oh, my plate's just too full. My plate's just too full. My plate's just
Every day.
Yeah. And then and then you're going to plan something around that. So anyway, I know that's a roundabout answer to your question, but it's really unplanning and undoing and unlearning and coming to that kind of a place.
Wow. I want to tag on quickly. I think when you're in the now moment, it's the only place that you can dream from. Because when you're in the present moment, I just had this conversation last week, I think, with somebody, and I was asking somebody about their dreams, and they were like, wow, nobody's ever asked me what I want. And I thought, well, where are you now? And what do you want out of that? And they couldn't answer that question. And I said, okay, well, if we can get really real about how we feel about where we are in this moment, then we can dream. That's where our dreams create from, I believe.
I think I read on your website that everything dreams come from nothing. Is that how you said it on the website? Is everything comes from that experience of being here in the now?
I think so. And like the way you asked your question, I could tell there was that little just an inquiry of we hear this word present moment. We hear all this stuff all the time. And I don't know if I've ever really fully understood it until I stopped trying to understand it and just experienced it, rather than just trying to talk spiritual lingo. You have to be able to experience. It's a direct experience. And when you get it, you get it, and so this gives people, like these retreats, give people a chance to just, have the slate wiped clean, to allow them to dream and allow them to reinvent themselves and
feel. I mean, I think that's where we dream from, is a place of feeling. Like, I want to feel like this, right? I want to take this experience and the feeling of this moment, and I want to feel this more often. How can I do that, right? Yeah.
What are some of the things you've seen people come out of the workshop? They're in the middle of the workshop and they say, oh my God, this just hit me. I just feel this is my path in life. What are some of those things that have happened, Bob?
We've had people change their name. We've had people, because sometimes we'll do these testimonial videos, and I don't know, we hardly ever even use them. But I remember people saying, I've changed the way I looked at food, the way I looked at people, the way I looked at technology, the way, animals. Just their, yeah. So I would say we probably had the full gamut, full spectrum of people making changes.
Let's back up for a second, because you said one that is scary to a lot of people, if not most people. And that is, you said, you've had people change their names, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that for a second. What caused someone to go I'm no longer Michael Jackson, I'm Bob Smith. What causes somebody to go and change? Why? Why would they do that?
Yeah, I know a couple examples. I would say one is that their given name they preferred over what their parents called them. And because they felt like they had to please and live up to their parents' expectations and obligations and standards for so long, in their 60s, they were still going by the name that they did not prefer. So taking that stand of, this is what I wish to be called, and this is my preference. And I also think that, names carry an energy from a shamanic perspective, right? Everything has a vibration and a frequency. And I think some people associate their name with traumas from their past, some hurts or some things that have happened to them that may have been in their ancestry, right? In their family lines, that they would like to shift that also.
Wow. Yeah. Names have a power to them, I guess. And
Mhm.
you can shift it if you change that name. Um, I want to talk about more things you guys do. You also play a lot of music, and I love music. I play music, and your guys' music is phenomenal. And I just let's let some people experience your music just for a second here and see what we can learn from your music.
Doing your best, but it was never enough to please the one in your head, scares you half to death, the one that doesn't exist. It's only up in your mind, the one that drains your cup and always puts you back at the end of the line. These mountains that you carry on your back, you were only supposed to climb. From the day you were born, your path was already known.
I love that so much. You guys, um, the writer, Bob, are you the writer, or do you collaborate?
I
And
do. I collaborate with the infinite.
tell me a little bit about your music. One thing that was curious when we were talking before is
Yeah.
we talked about your fact that your music is different than other music people might hear. And when you say that, what do you mean?
I think what I mean by that is that word different is triggering me, not triggering me, but it's getting me like thinking that I think a lot of music does what my music does, but I don't know many people that kind of like, I think I wish, not wish, but I could have been a writer. I could have been Eckhart Tolle or Wayne Dyer, but I really was meant to deliver that same sort of medicine, but just through songs, because it was probably partially because my attention span is very powerful and very, very short. And that is not really going to lead me to write, 300-page books. So it's just this crazy little gift that I have. So, I mean, it's really the intention is to help people to expand and grow. And I don't really write songs unless they are very specifically like targeted for something like that. I don't just write general songs about, what I did on Saturday night and that kind of thing. So in that respect, it's probably a little bit different than a lot of the music that's out there. So very intentionally meant to be medicine, meant to be teaching, not even teaching, just remembrance of what people probably already know. So
When
yeah,
when you have the workshops, your retreats,
yeah.
is there music involved in the workshops also?
Oh yeah, I mean it's sort of one of the central components. So if you go back to that song, you think about the words in that song, these mountains that you carry on your back, you were only meant to climb. So like we'll take that song and we'll sing it, we'll have people close their eyes and do some breathing and we'll slow the song down. We might repeat the verse over and over again and people, like, wow, it's really landing. I never heard that song that way. So the people that come to the retreats, most of them are fans, I would say, of the music already. And then when they come in, they hear it and they feel it being delivered in a different intentional way, in a very sort of like in a milieu, it's set up as an environment for them to really get those messages. And then maybe they'll journal afterwards. I mean, so it's a big component of what we do in the retreats.
Yeah, I just listening to the song and just sitting here rocking with it back and forth. I'm like, yeah, I'm liking this. And now it's going to be stuck in my head until I hear something else, and then it'll probably pop back in tonight, and I'll just be listening to it. So I'm leaving it up on YouTube. In fact, I should put a link here so people can actually do it themselves.
Wow.
Um, there's another thing that we talked about while we were in the green room earlier, and we talked about sovereignty and people um, possessing their own power. And I kind of just want to go into that with both of you about how sovereignty works. And first of all, um, most people may not understand what the word sovereignty is. So let's define sovereignty for people. And then instead of being a sovereign, how does it apply to us as individuals? And Shannon, I'm going to let you bounce with that one.
Wow. So to me, sovereignty is about knowing. Okay. To me, it begins with knowing the truth of ourself, so that whatever external comes toward us, whether it's information, whether it's a person, whether it's a place or an experience, we know the truth of ourselves so much that no matter what happens out here, we know where we stand in that mix of things. So nothing shifts us off center, right? So to me, standing in sovereignty is, knowing the truth for ourselves, knowing our beliefs, knowing what moves us, what inspires us, what motivates us, that no matter what is occurring, we always stick to that. And when something else occurs that might be of interest, that might pique our interest, that might challenge our beliefs, we don't have to rub up against it and in a harsh way. We can sit back and go, wow, I need to research that. I need to understand where that other person is coming from. And maybe our growth will transpire from that experience. And maybe we decide, well, my belief system is still where it was before. So to me, sovereignty is that it's knowing our path and not straying from it, regardless of what's coming at us.
Yeah. I want to follow up with that with Bob. We talked about the sovereignty. We talked about people on, knowing who they are before. And this is just a hypothetical question, but if everybody was following their own path, does that lead to us being more connected, or does that lead to more anarchy?
I mean, I think the truth has always been somewhere in the middle, right? Right now, on this planet, there is very clear polarization. I mean, in everything that comes up becomes a polarizing issue, and they go on one side or the other, for or against. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just so, and I believe that with that sovereignty of knowing who you are, I believe that people are good. And I know that Luke Bryan said that in a song, and I love that song. But I believe that the inherent nature of people is good. And I think when they come into their sovereignty, they come into that knowing in their heart and their feeling in their heart, they're going to do good in the world. I think they're going to do good with it. So I think it won't lead to anarchy. I think it will lead to truth. And I think it will lead to it's just a place where everybody's free, right? That's the way I look at it. I think there's an aspect of freedom in this world that is fleeting for many, many, many people. And I think that having as many people as possible that aren't in their sovereignty and aren't critically thinking and aren't just like, well, I don't know if I really believe that. There's no room for discourse in this world right now. It's either this or this. And so I feel like if there was room for discourse, people would get back to this place of like a healthy discourse, like whether it's science or whatever, economics. And I believe we would be in a better place. We would be in a better place. So I don't think it would lead to anarchy at all. I think maybe partially for a little bit, because you have to break down the systems. But once the systems are broken down and it comes and the truth becomes to be expressed, then I believe we would be in a better place. Will that happen in our lifetime or the next 2 or 3 generations? I don't know, but we're pretty far away from it right now, I think, in my heart.
Well, you guys have a singular message, and if you want to get that out to the people watching and you want them to come to your retreat to share in that message, what is that message, Shannon? And then Bob will ask you the same question.
I would say for me, it's remember love, remember, like, right? Remember, take all the members and put it all back together. Remember.
That is nice.
I would say our message, and I know this message that I'm about to say is that I think people are tired and they're worn out, right? And they need some actual experiential connections with other human beings in a safe, beautiful, I mean, just effervescent environment. And I think that will move their heart, right? And wherever they go with that heart, it doesn't really matter. But my message to you, to everyone, anybody thinking about coming to this retreat, by the way, it's almost sold out. So we just have a few rooms left. But if you're really, really tired of striving and you want to arrive and you're really at the place where you just need a break and you need to relax and be in a place where you can just not do and be open to what emerges, then come be with us. And that's the message.
Yeah. I want people to be able to get in touch with you. Where the light gets in.us is where that can all happen. And you know what? I want to listen to this just a little bit more. I'm gonna play it for a little bit, and then we're gonna roll credits, and we'll be out of here. So everybody, check out where the light gets in.us. Listen to a little bit more of Bob and Shannon, and then we're gonna call it a day. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us, brother. Great to be with you.
This is my earworm for the day, right here.
There you go.
It was one hell of a climb, and yours to do was taken one step at a time. And these mountains that you carry on your back, you are only supposed to climb. And these mountains.
Bye, everybody. I'm gonna keep listening.